Hey, I'm Chad Millman, co-host of the Favorites podcast, along with my BFF, my companion, my compadre, Simon Hunter, professional bettor. This is the YouTube exclusive where Simon and I take a few minutes, break down the plays and the players that we think are most interesting right now that are impacting how we're thinking about bets, that are impacting bets that we might have made the week before, and helping us be influenced about how we will be looking at the season going forward. So, Simon, good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, Chad.
This is my favorite thing we do every week. We get to go full geek right now, which is awesome. The first one, I'm going first. I'm looking at a player who I can tell you right now, PFF. Hold on, Hutton. Don't play it yet. Don't reveal yet. Hutton Jackson, our producer. Simon, there's one defensive end in the NFL who Pro Football Focus grades out as top 4 overall, top 4 in pass rush, top 4 in pass coverage. He's played the most snaps overall as a pass rusher in the NFL this year, amongst the most overall snaps of any defensive end this year. In his second season in the league, the youngest defensive end, one of the youngest defensive ends in the league. His name's Simon, Aiden Hutchinson. And he's one of the reasons we love the Detroit Lions so much. All right, so Hutton, now let's run it, brother. This first play I want to look at. This is last week against the Carolina Panthers, right? First play, it's like the second or third play of the game. It's 2 minutes into the game. Laviska Shenault, we can play it right here, Hutton. Laviska Shenault running across. It's going to be a reverse, kind of a reverse to Laviska Shenault. And you can see when we get to the all 22 part, we'll keep playing it, how far Aiden Hutchinson lines up. So let's stop it right here, Hutton. So let's see a couple things here. Number one, this is the first play of 2 that we're going to look at. Look how far he's split out, way wide, practically in position to cover a slot receiver. He's lined up in a 2-point stance like a wideout, not a defensive end. And you can see the right tackle. He's kind of cheating as much as he can off the line of scrimmage. All right, Hutton, let's press play here, because this first move is just straight ahead, recognizes the reverse, stutter steps, clubs the tackle out of the way, grabs the Panthers runner by the shoulders from behind for a 2-yard loss. He's got the agility from his stance. He's got speed in the box. He's got power on the club move, strength to bring down the runner while the runner is trying to pass him. All right, let's pause it right here. Simon, this guy's pretty good, right? When you look at this, and I got another play I want to show you that's even a little bit better and more interesting. But just this, what he did, like so many different techniques that you don't normally see from a defensive end.
Yeah, and it's also Bryce Young's a young quarterback. You probably should have checked out of that play where you have a tight end blocking the best defender on the lines. Like the fact that they had split it out, that they're like, okay, we'll just have a guy out there that'll chip block him, throw him off balance, and we'll be able to get out wide around him. No, Aiden read that right from the snap. He read what was happening. He threw the tight end down and was right on top of the guy. So that's why we talk all the time about these DNs and how smart they are. He knew before that ball was even snapped what play was about to happen. Like whatever he had seen on tape, whatever he had done, you just watch him read the ball off the line. Like just the way he tosses this guy to the side and just goes right for, like he's not even going to the quarterback. See how he just moves him to the side and goes right to the guy running the ball? It's like you can't coach that. That's just God-given talent. Like in a year 2 player making that read, it's incredible. I mean, Detroit fans, they already know they got a guy. You have to be so elated that the Jaguars passed on him and he fell to you at number 2.
All right. I'm so glad you brought up sort of him reading the quarterback, because let's go to Hutton, the second play that I want to show. So this is later in the game, later in the third quarter. At this point, you can play it, Hutton. They've won the game.
Yeah.
And like, it's Bryce Young. He's sacked for a 4-yard loss. We can keep playing it because I want you to see it from the all 22 angle because it's so much more. All right, so let's stop it right here, Hutton. So look at this right here. Before we thought he was lined up wide, right? Now he's lined up even wider. Okay. He's like so far off the ball. He's basically 20 feet from the quarterback right now. Okay. Now we can play it. He's 2 yards wide of the tight end. All right. So let's pause it for a second here. So he gets that little chip from the tight end that you could see, right? And then he finds a way to get into the backfield and get him to Bryce Young. By the way, there's a right tackle there who's basically flat-footed and has to catch Aiden Hutchinson full speed, who has no chance against a guy like that, especially when Bryce Young decides to run directly into his path for an easy sack. So, Simon, what I will say to you is this. Remember last year when there was this huge debate about Aiden Hutchinson as the number 1 pick versus Trayvon Walker? And like, we've talked about this on the show when we go into the draft shows, like scouts outsmart themselves. Walker was a workout freak after the season. He ended up being a guy who flew up the draft boards because scouts fell in love with him. Hutchinson falls to his hometown team. He's got 4.5 sacks and a pick this season. Walker has 2 sacks and really hasn't been that spectacular in a year and change. Hutchinson's been blowing this stuff up for the Lions. And I also think it's ironic, because we talked about this in the podcast, that on this play, he sacked the number 1 overall pick this year, who, as you have pointed out, one owner fell in love with because of one postseason element, his testing, and they passed on the guy who showed it all on film in CJ Stroud. Aiden Hutchinson, same thing. What we've seen from Aiden Hutchinson in a year and 5 games proves he should have been the number 1 pick last year.
Yeah, and we talk all the time, like, if you're drafting up high like that, your goal is to get a guy like him. That's the Bosa type, the pass rusher that not only is he great against going against the quarterback, but we already saw in this clip before, they're great against the run. Like the guy that can do it all. And that pass play you just showed, what I love about it is he gets the chip, but then he knows to keep driving upfield, and then he has the wherewithal to spin back because he knows he's really far upfield, and that if he spins off the block, off the tackle, that hopefully Bryce will be in his lap, right? Because that's when the pocket's collapsing. So he drives all the way upfield, gets the tackle off bounds, throws his body into him with a spin move, and spins off right into Bryce. And again, it's timing, it's technique, it's something you just can't coach. It's God-given ability, and this kid really does have it, Chad. So I love that you picked him to break it down.
I love the Lions right now. And look, we've been talking about the Lions in your power ratings all season, and it's not because of their offense. Their defense, right? They've got a top 10 defense right now. Their defense is top 5 against the rush. Like, they are getting better and better. And Aiden Hutchinson is a big part of that.
Introducing the Action Network's NFL Luck Rankings. Our luck rankings grade teams based off something we call luck percentage, representing the win probability swing between a team's on-field performance and their actual winning percentage. So, if a team has been far more unlucky than a team they are facing, it's possible odds makers and the public aren't adjusting enough for this, meaning there's betting value on the unluckier team to cover the spread. So be sure to check out our NFL luck rankings every week, only on the Action Network.
All right, Chad, for my film room breakdown, we're going with Joe Burrow, a guy all of you know really well and everyone loves, but I just want to show everyone that it looks like it's old Joe's back, where the first couple of weeks, the first 4 weeks of the season did not look like the same player, and everything we talked about was missing. Him getting outside the pocket, him moving in the pocket, him connecting on these deep shots on target. I mean, I think I talked about it before the Tennessee game. He had the worst completion percentage of balls 20 yards down the field. He was 1 for 9 heading to that Tennessee game, completely laid another egg. And we saw in that Cardinals game, he looked like old Joe Burrow. And even the week leading up to it, he said it was the healthiest he had felt all season lead up to that Cardinals game. You know it is, Chad. We think it's all smokescreen. Like, what else is he going to say? Like, that's just football talk. Well, Hutton can roll the tape here. You'll see, Chad. He's looking like old Joe Burrow, like moving in the pocket, getting the ball downfield. That's what I want to see from Joe. And on this play, again, guys all over him. Look at that movement in the pocket. You weren't seeing that for the last 4 weeks. Like, last week was the first time you saw when there's pressure, which he's going to face a lot of pressure. We just know that O-line isn't that good. Look at that movement. Like, there's only a couple quarterbacks can do it. Keep his head downfield, take the easy check down. So instead of what we saw for the previous 4 weeks, Joe taking a sack there, losing 10 yards, he has easy completion for an easy 4 or 5 yard pickup. And that to me is the big difference between Joe we saw to start the year and what we expected of Joe these past 3 years, which is one of the best QBs in the pocket, moving, reading the defenses. And this play really highlighted that, where he just got outside the pressure and was able to complete the ball downfield.
Yeah, I guess we all loved seeing that against the Cardinals last week. The question becomes, do we think that he is ready to do that again? Do people overinflate the value of the Bengals because all of a sudden everyone thinks Joe is back? How do we handicap that?
Apparently they don't, because right now the money is coming in on the Seahawks. So people are still pretty skeptical of this Joe Burrow team. So people know if I'm getting Joe Burrow right now, who's healthy, at -2.5 at home, I'm going to take that number. So I am drinking the Kool-Aid. And how to control the next play here. This is what really stood out to me. Like everyone saw the numbers from Chase's game. The connection between him and Chase, it's so unique in football nowadays. You have guys who play together in college, then they go in the pros and they play together and they can continue that success. And it's just trust. Like on that read right there, he threw him open. Like he was already open, you could say that, but he put the ball more downfield, where you saw Chase break it upfield. Instead of running towards the sideline, he turned it up towards the end zone, which that's what I want to see from Joe. I wanted to see him leading his receivers to the end zone on the deep ball. And this year it's a perfect throw, pressure in his face, downfield, right on target. It doesn't get much better than that. Like you're watching two guys who clearly they've been playing together for years now. And it just makes me so happy to see that Joe can start throwing those deep balls again, because that's everything to this offense. Like now that T. Higgins out, more is going to be put on Chase, and Chase lived up to it. I think he had 3 touchdowns in this game, Chad. Like that's what you want to see from this Bengals team to bounce back in this kind of game.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks against the Rams and then against the Cardinals, Jamar Chase has basically had a season's worth of catches and put himself in position to be one of the league leading receivers again. And it's nice to see Joe stepping into throws, and that in that first play you showed the way he was twirling and sort of running in a ring around the rosy around a defensive player for the Cardinals. That's the first time we've seen him do that all year. And so these 2 plays are really smart and indicative of what we think Joe can be headed back to. At least bettors at -2.5 are hoping that's what they're getting from Joe Burrow.
Amen.
Amen. All right, this has been the Film Room for Simon Hunter. I am Chad Millman. We co-host the Favorites podcast. This has been our YouTube exclusive. We're back every single week on Wednesdays during the season, breaking down film of the players and teams that we are thinking about betting. Till next time, thanks.